The Galactic Arena was the pinnacle of interstellar entertainment, a stage where species from across the galaxy displayed their strength and prowess. It wasn't just a battleground, it was a testament to the unyielding pride of each race. The arena's colossal walls bore scars of countless battles, each marking the triumph of the strong and the humiliation of the weak. Over the years, one species had become the universal punchline of these contests: humans. To the alien spectators, humans were nothing more than frail, soft-bodied creatures from a backwater planet. Despite their tenacity, every attempt to send warriors into the arena had ended in defeat. The very idea of a human challenger evoked laughter, their failures a source of endless amusement. As the crowd gathered for the championship match, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The lineup was spectacular, and the crowd was ready for another round of entertainment at humanity's expense. Among the roaring audience, voices echoed with sneers and insults. They mocked the announcement of yet another human contender. To them, this was nothing more than a ceremonial gesture, a prelude to inevitable humiliation. The commentators joined in, their words dripping with disdain. "Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves for what will likely be the shortest fight in arena history. The human challenger has arrived!" The crowd erupted in laughter, their confidence in the outcome absolute. The championship itself was more than just a spectacle. It symbolized dominance and superiority in a galaxy teeming with diverse and advanced species. Victors of the arena were not just warriors, they were legends, their names celebrated across star systems. For humanity, however, it was a stage of shame. Their previous contestants had been annihilated with ease, their efforts dismissed as futile attempts by an inferior species. Today was expected to be no different. As the announcer introduced the fighters, the spotlight fell on the alien champion, a towering beast of muscle and menace, adorned with the ceremonial armor of its kind. Its name echoed through the arena, a name synonymous with victory. The audience roared in approval, their faith in their champion unwavering. Then, the human contender stepped into the ring. Silence rippled through the crowd, followed by a wave of mocking laughter. Clad in unremarkable armor and armed with nothing extraordinary, the human looked unassuming, almost comical against the backdrop of the arena's grandeur. The audience saw no threat, no challenge. To them, this was another doomed attempt to earn respect through a lost cause. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena, attempting to stoke excitement. Yet the words only fueled the derision. From the distant planet Earth, a warrior steps forth, ready to prove humanity's worth in the face of certain defeat. Will history repeat itself, or is there more to these creatures than meets the eye? The crowd erupted again, their laughter drowning out any hope of serious consideration. The commentators analyzed the human's odds with theatrical exaggeration. They pointed out the obvious disadvantages: physical strength, combat experience, and technological disparity. Their verdict was unanimous: the human didn't stand a chance. Some even placed bets on how long the fight would last, with most wagering less than a minute. But among the cacophony of ridicule, there were a few spectators who watched with curiosity rather than contempt. They had seen how humans, despite their shortcomings, always seemed to find a way to surprise. There was something about their stubbornness, their refusal to accept defeat, that intrigued these observers. However, such voices were drowned in the overwhelming tide of scorn. As the final preparations were made, the humans stood motionless, eyes scanning the arena. The crowd misinterpreted the calm demeanor as fear, jeering louder. Yet there was something unsettling about the human's composure, a quiet confidence that didn't fit the narrative of helplessness. The alien champion, towering over its opponent, snorted in amusement, its posture radiating arrogance. The championship bell rang, signaling the start of the match. The crowd's excitement surged, eager to see the inevitable destruction unfold. But for the first time in the arena's history, they would witness something no one expected. Humanity wasn't here for entertainment. It was here for redemption. The human challenger stood at the center of the arena, and the atmosphere was thick with disbelief and mockery. The alien champion loomed over its opponent, exuding raw power and menace. The crowd's derisive laughter echoed in the massive space, but the human's demeanor remained unnervingly calm. This wasn't what the audience expected. They had seen fear, desperation, and panic in previous human challengers, but not this quiet, unyielding presence. Every detail of the human's appearance became a subject of ridicule. Unlike the heavily armed and armored alien, the human's gear seemed minimalist, almost primitive. The alien commentators pointed out these glaring differences, highlighting what they deemed humanity's foolish lack of preparation. They ridiculed the human's lean frame, comparing it unfavorably to the champion's bulky, muscular physique. Every word added to the narrative of certain defeat. The match began with a burst of aggression from the alien champion. It was confident, almost careless, as it lunged forward to end the fight quickly. Yet the human moved with precision and speed, dodging with uncanny efficiency. The crowd gasped, caught off guard by the unexpected display of skill. While the alien champion was powerful, its movements were predictable, built for overwhelming strength rather than adaptability. The human exploited this, sidestepping attacks with calculated precision. The commentators faltered, struggling to explain what they were seeing. Their dismissive tone shifted to one of hesitant curiosity. The human was not attacking yet, merely observing and adapting. Every dodge and feint seemed deliberate, as though the challenger was studying its opponent. The alien champion, growing visibly frustrated, doubled its efforts, but the human's movements remained fluid, almost effortless. This was not luck. It became clear that the human was playing a long game, testing the champion's limits while conserving energy. Each evasion revealed subtle weaknesses in the alien's form, weaknesses the human noted without revealing its strategy. The audience, initially amused, began to quiet down. A sense of confusion rippled through the arena as they watched a human challenger last longer than any before. The alien champion, accustomed to quick victories, became increasingly reckless. Its massive strikes missed their mark, and its confidence began to waver. Meanwhile, the human displayed an extraordinary level of focus and awareness, reacting to each move as though it had anticipated it beforehand. The crowd started to murmur among themselves. For the first time, they saw potential, not in brute strength, but in a form of combat they didn't fully understand. The human's movements were not just evasive but strategic. Every step was calculated to force the alien champion into disadvantageous positions. It was a battle of patience and intelligence rather than sheer force. The alien, realizing it could not land a decisive blow, attempted to corner the human, but each attempt failed as the challenger slipped away with remarkable agility. This was not a fight the crowd had seen before. It was a demonstration of adaptability and precision. Some spectators began to recognize the human's strategy. Unlike most challengers, who relied on strength they didn't have, the human leaned into its strengths, speed, adaptability, and an uncanny ability to read its opponent. The crowd's attitude began to shift. The jeers grew quieter, replaced by murmurs of intrigue. Alien commentators hesitated, their previous certainty wavering as the human's unorthodox tactics continued to defy expectations. By now, the alien champion's frustration was evident. It was not accustomed to prolonged fights, and its stamina began to falter. Each missed attack drained its energy, while the human remained steady, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The crowd, sensing the shift in momentum, leaned forward in their seats, their mockery giving way to reluctant interest. What had started as a spectacle of humiliation had turned into a genuine contest. The human challenger was not merely surviving but thriving under pressure. This was no accident. It became increasingly clear that the human's presence in the arena was not an act of desperation, but a deliberate choice. This was a warrior who had studied the arena's history, learned from humanity's failures, and arrived with a plan. The alien champion, now visibly exhausted, grew more desperate. Its once calculated strikes became wild swings, leaving openings the human could exploit. Yet, the challenger remained patient, refusing to rush the fight. Every move was deliberate, every action part of a larger strategy. The crowd, once hostile, began to cheer, not out of loyalty to the human, but out of respect for its skill. The shift in energy was palpable, and for the first time, the arena felt uncertain. The commentators, struggling to maintain their authority, tried to downplay the humans' performance. They framed it as a fluke, a series of lucky evasions. But even they could not deny what was unfolding before their eyes. The human was not just surviving, it was outmaneuvering one of the arena's most feared champions. This was no accident. It was a testament to humanity's resilience and adaptability, qualities that had been underestimated for far too long. As the first round drew to a close, the alien champion retreated momentarily to recover its breath. The human, standing calm and composed, had yet to show any signs of fatigue. The crowd erupted in a mix of disbelief and tentative applause. They had expected another short, one-sided match, but what they were witnessing was something entirely different. Humanity had arrived in the arena not as prey, but as a competitor. The tone of the championship had shifted, and with it, the perception of humans across the galaxy. The stage was set for a battle that would challenge everything the galaxy thought it knew. The fight took a sharp turn as the alien champion, frustrated by its inability to land a decisive blow, began to rely on its overwhelming strength. The initial arrogance that had characterized its movements was replaced by aggression and impatience. It launched a series of attacks designed to corner its opponent, relying on sheer power to crush any resistance. However, this shift in tactics only played into the human's hands. Each wild strike exposed new weaknesses. The alien's massive frame, once a symbol of invincibility, began to reveal its limitations. Its reliance on brute force had left gaps in its defenses, and the human challenger exploited them without hesitation. Small, calculated strikes targeted the alien's vulnerable points. These weren't devastating blows, but they were precise enough to sap energy and morale, forcing the champion to expend more effort for diminishing returns. The crowd, now fully engrossed, watched as the dynamic shifted further. The human strategy was becoming clear. This wasn't just a physical contest, it was a mental game, and the challenger was winning. Every move seemed to predict the alien's next step, every dodge perfectly timed to frustrate and exhaust. The once boisterous crowd was now quieter, their laughter replaced by murmurs of admiration and disbelief. As the alien champion grew visibly fatigued, the human stamina remained constant. This endurance was unexpected, given the perceived physical inferiority of humans. But it was more than just physical resilience. The human's movements revealed an understanding of the battlefield that no other challenger had demonstrated. It used the terrain to its advantage, maneuvering around obstacles to keep the alien off balance. Every step, every strike, was part of a larger plan. The champion, realizing it was losing control of the fight, tried to regain its footing with a renewed burst of energy. But its attacks, though powerful, were increasingly desperate. The human, by contrast, maintained composure, waiting for the right moment to press the advantage. This patience, so unlike the frantic energy of past challengers, was unsettling to the audience. It was as if the human had already anticipated the outcome and was simply executing a well-rehearsed plan. By this point, the alien commentators were at a loss for words. They had spent the first half of the match ridiculing the human, but now their tone had shifted. They spoke in measured terms, analyzing the human's movements with a mixture of curiosity and respect. They began to acknowledge the tactical brilliance on display, though they hesitated to fully credit the human for fear of contradicting their earlier dismissals. The turning point came not with a single dramatic blow, but with the accumulation of small, precise actions. The alien champion, weighed down by exhaustion and frustration, began to falter. Its once dominant presence now seemed vulnerable, its every movement slower and less controlled. The human, sensing the shift, began to escalate its attacks. These were not wild strikes but calculated maneuvers designed to exploit the alien's fatigue and overexertion. The crowd, initially divided in their reactions, started to rally behind the human. Cheers erupted, growing louder with each successful strike. What had begun as a spectacle of humiliation had transformed into a battle of respect. The audience, recognizing the skill and determination of the challenger, found themselves rooting for the underdog. This was no longer about species superiority. It was about witnessing a contest of true skill. The alien champion, now visibly struggling, made one last desperate attempt to regain control. It charged with all its remaining strength, aiming to overwhelm the human with a final, decisive blow. But this too had been anticipated. The human sidestepped with effortless precision, countering with a strike that left the champion staggering. The crowd roared in approval, their excitement reaching a fever pitch. The commentators, unable to deny the human's dominance, began to frame the fight in a new light. They spoke of humanity's resilience, its ability to adapt and overcome. They marveled at the strategy that had turned the tide against a seemingly invincible opponent. For the first time, the narrative shifted from mockery to admiration. As the alien champion retreated, struggling to recover, the humans stood firm. There was no gloating, no display of arrogance, just a quiet confidence that spoke volumes. The crowd, now fully on the human's side, erupted into cheers that echoed through the arena. The once dismissive spectators had been won over, not by brute strength, but by intelligence, strategy, and an indomitable will. The human's performance had redefined the dynamics of the galactic arena. This was no longer about proving physical superiority. It was about demonstrating the power of ingenuity and determination. The fight was far from over, but the outcome was becoming clear. Humanity, long dismissed as weak and insignificant, had finally earned its place in the arena. This was a contest the galaxy would never forget. The human challenger began to shift tactics, transitioning from defense to a controlled offense. With the alien champion visibly fatigued and its attacks growing increasingly uncoordinated, the humans saw the opportunity to assert dominance. Each movement was deliberate, each strike calculated. It was no longer about survival. It was about dismantling the opponent piece by piece. The human strategy was methodical, focusing on exploiting the weaknesses exposed throughout the earlier exchanges. The aliens' advanced weaponry and natural advantages, once seen as insurmountable, were now liabilities. The human adapted to each challenge, turning the alien's strengths into vulnerabilities. The champion's large size, which had intimidated every other opponent, became a disadvantage as the human used agility to evade and counter. Its powerful but slow attacks were countered with precision, striking critical points that sapped its strength and destabilized its footing. The crowd, once skeptical of the human's chances, was now fully engaged, witnessing a level of tactical brilliance they had never seen in the arena. The shift in momentum was undeniable. The alien champion, previously dominant, now found itself unable to maintain control of the fight. Every attempt to regain the upper hand was met with swift and effective responses. The human wasn't just reacting, it was dictating the pace of the fight, forcing the alien into a defensive posture. This was no longer a contest of raw power but a battle of intellect and adaptability, and the human was winning. The crowd's excitement grew as they realized they were witnessing a historic moment. The human challenger was demonstrating qualities that had been overlooked or dismissed: resilience, ingenuity, and an unyielding determination to succeed. The alien commentators, struggling to maintain their earlier narrative of human inferiority, began to acknowledge the challenger's skill. The tone of the broadcast shifted from condescension to respect as they analyzed the human's tactics with newfound admiration. The fight reached a critical point as the human unveiled a surprising maneuver. While the alien champion relied on brute force and predictable strategies, the human demonstrated an unexpected level of innovation. It introduced a technique that had never been seen in the arena, one that caught the alien completely off guard. The audience watched in awe as the human's ingenuity turned the tide further in its favor. This moment highlighted the true strength of humanity, not in physical prowess, but in the ability to think creatively and adapt to any situation. The alien champion, now visibly struggling, attempted to rally for one final push. But the human was prepared. Every move the alien made was anticipated, every attack neutralized. The human's ability to remain calm under pressure, combined with its strategic mastery, left the alien with no options. It was a battle of endurance, and the human had proven to be far better equipped for the long game. As the alien champion's strength waned, the human pressed its advantage further. Each strike landed with precision, targeting areas that weakened the alien's defenses. The challenger's approach was relentless yet controlled, ensuring that every action served a purpose. This was not an act of desperation but a carefully executed plan. The alien, once seen as unbeatable, was now on the verge of defeat. The crowd's reaction reached a crescendo as they began to cheer for the human with genuine enthusiasm. What had started as mockery had transformed into respect and admiration. The alien commentators, finally conceding the undeniable reality, praised the human's performance. They spoke of the challenger's ability to outthink and outmaneuver its opponent, recognizing that this fight was not just a victory for the individual but a moment of redemption for humanity as a whole. The human's performance in the arena had shattered the expectations of every spectator. It proved that strength was not the only measure of a warrior's worth and that adaptability and intelligence could triumph over brute force. The fight was a testament to the human spirit, a demonstration of what could be achieved through perseverance and ingenuity. This was a turning point in the Galactic Arena's history, a moment that would be remembered for generations. As the match neared its conclusion, the alien champion was left with no path to victory. It had been outmaneuvered, outlasted, and outsmarted. The human's performance had redefined the very nature of the competition, showing that victory did not belong solely to the strongest but to those who could adapt and innovate in the face of adversity. The fight was no longer just about the outcome, it was about the statement being made. Humanity, once dismissed as weak and insignificant, had proven its place among the galaxy's greatest contenders. The arena would never be the same again. The final moments of the fight carried an air of inevitability. The alien champion, once considered invincible, was now battered, exhausted, and struggling to maintain its footing. Every move it attempted was sluggish, every attack easily countered. The human challenger had transformed what was expected to be a spectacle of humiliation into a battle that would redefine perceptions across the galaxy. The human's dominance was no longer in question. The only uncertainty was how the fight would end. The crowd, fully invested in the outcome, erupted with a mix of cheers and stunned silence at each of the humans' calculated maneuvers. The shift in their attitude was palpable. No longer mocking or dismissive, they had come to respect the human's performance. The arena, known for its brutal and often one-sided contests, was now witnessing a display of determination, resilience, and brilliance that few had ever imagined possible. Humanity had shown it was more than capable of competing on this stage. The alien commentators, who had earlier dismissed the human's chances, now openly praised its performance. They analyzed the fight with new respect, emphasizing the strategy, endurance, and precision that had brought the human to this moment. They spoke of the way the challenger had dismantled its opponent, not through sheer force but through superior tactics and adaptability. The human's success wasn't just a victory in combat, it was a lesson in what it meant to truly understand and master a battlefield. As the alien champion made one final, desperate attempt to turn the tide, it was clear that it no longer had the strength or focus to succeed. Its movements, once powerful and deliberate, were now erratic and uncoordinated. The human, by contrast, remained composed, each movement calculated and efficient. There was no hesitation, no wasted effort. This was the culmination of years of preparation, discipline, and an unwavering belief in the ability to overcome any challenge. The final blow, when it came, was not dramatic or drawn out. It was simple, precise, and definitive. The alien champion collapsed, unable to continue. The crowd erupted into deafening applause, their cheers echoing through the arena. For the first time in the history of the Galactic Arena, a human had emerged victorious. This was not just a win, it was a statement that humanity could no longer be dismissed or underestimated. The human challenger, standing in the center of the arena, did not revel in the victory with arrogance or pride. Instead, there was a quiet humility in its demeanor. This was not about personal glory but about proving a point, demonstrating that humanity's greatest strengths lay not in raw power but in the ability to think, adapt, and persevere. This fight had been about more than just survival. It was about redefining what it meant to be a competitor in a galaxy that had long considered humans inferior. The aftermath of the fight sent shockwaves across the galaxy. News of the humans' victory spread rapidly, sparking debates and discussions in every corner of the interstellar community. For many, this was a moment of reckoning. The perception of humans, once seen as fragile and insignificant, had been irrevocably changed. The victory in the arena had not only earned respect but had also challenged deeply ingrained beliefs about what it meant to be strong, capable, and worthy of recognition. The galactic arena itself would never be the same. This fight had set a new standard, showing that strength alone was not enough to guarantee success. The humans' performance had highlighted the importance of strategy, resilience, and the ability to adapt to any situation. It had proven that victory was not reserved for the most physically dominant, but for those who could rise to the occasion with intelligence and determination. The alien champion's defeat also carried a deeper significance. It was a reminder to the galaxy that even the most dominant could fall when faced with an opponent who refused to give up. The human challenger's victory was a testament to the potential of all species to rise above their limitations and achieve greatness through sheer willpower and ingenuity. The human's return to Earth was met with celebration and pride. This victory was not just a personal achievement, but a triumph for humanity as a whole. It represented a turning point, a moment when the galaxy began to see humans not as weak or insignificant but as equals capable of competing and excelling on the interstellar stage. The fight in the galactic arena had been a battle of more than just physical prowess. It had been a battle for recognition, respect, and the right to stand alongside the galaxy's greatest. This moment would go down in history as a defining chapter in humanity's journey. It was a reminder that strength comes in many forms and that true power lies in the ability to overcome challenges through courage, determination, and ingenuity. The human challenger had not only won a fight but had also won the hearts and minds of an entire galaxy. The future was no longer one of doubt and dismissal. It was one of potential, promise, and the unshakable belief that humanity's best days were yet to come.